I thought you were a tough canyon guy.
I am.
So this is the third video in our course set, or a little course, about canyon rope systems. We covered an overview of what we're going to talk about and how we categorize things. And then the first one was single rope systems, which was our second video. That's confusing. This is our third video, which is going to have two parts. So it's twin rope systems, where you got two ropes and you have isolated and compound.
Correct.
In the isolated video, this video, we're going to talk about ones that are static and ones that are releasable. And then in the next video, we'll talk about the compound and the variations with that.
Exactly.
So the course is starting from here down, and you're gonna, right, we're not talking about bolts,
nope.
Variations in bolts, just you're running your rope through an anchor point.
Correct. Okay. Yeah, so this is just simulating one rappel ring, whether it be on a piece of webbing or a chain anchor, not two unlinked bolts. That's a whole nother topic that we're gonna get into when we start doing anchor stuff or bolting. So the first thing I'm gonna do, anytime I come up to an anchor in canyon, I'm gonna run my rope through the ring. That way I'm setting myself up to retrieve my rope at the end. So the definition of a twin system is that I need to set both of these ropes up to support a person on rappel for each strand. So this is a classic way that climbers normally just throw the rope through and they're going to rappel on both of these.
If I saw this, I would want to do this and put this in my ATC and start rappelling.
Right? That's a whole nother system. If I want to increase efficiency by allowing multiple people to go down either at the same time, or at least having one person loading up a strand in the rappel device while one person is still moving down the pitch, this is where I'm going to start picking up and getting better efficiency of moving people through the pitch.
And the lens you're looking at is you're in the Pacific Northwest. If you're guiding people or taking noobs like me and there's a group of you, if it's just you and me and I already know what I'm doing, let's hypothetically say.
It's big hypothetical.
We might not use this system.
Nope.
Because I'd go down and you'd be on this already rigged pull down system.
Correct. But there's, I mean, I've been in canyons where there's just three of us, and I've done this first example just to set up to make it a little bit more efficient, because it is so fast and easy.
And it's not hard to set up.
This one is not. No.
It just takes a lot of explaining. We're trying to explain to you why you would rig and like how to think, more than like, I think this course is more about how to think.
Yes.
And where to use this application. This isn't the one thing you do in all of them.
Nope. Nope. In fact, there isn't one system that you can say, if I always do this, it'll always work. There's a lot of thinking out there that is close to that. There are systems that can get you a long ways in canyoning, but if you want to start looking at, like I said, increasing efficiency, dealing with rope abrasion, if you're going from the Southwest to the Pacific Northwest or vice versa, having a few different systems in your, on your harness, in order to rig really opens up a lot of things. So without going any farther into that, let's just go to the fast and easy one. So I want to make both of these strands able to support a person on rappel, and the easiest way to do that is to isolate each strand with a knot. So I'm going to throw in a butterfly knot into both these strands.
That's a big ass butterfly you got there.
Yep, a BAB. What I like about this particular system is it does give me a connection point to clip into, and there's two loops here, so I can clip into one, I can leave the other one open for the people coming up to get on rope.
So I'd clip into this, you'd clip into that, I'd go down mine, or this would be mine, and you'd go down yours.
Correct.
If there's somebody else still up here to convert this.
Yeah, obviously.
So you're not pulling this down.
No, you're not pulling this down. So this is the anchor manager will usually hang up, and I'm going to call everybody up to this. And while I'm going to hand you a strand. The bag, both ends of rope are down below with this. So I'm going to hand him a rope. He's going to load up. And as soon as Ryan gets down out of the way, I can call the next person up and hand them the other rope. They can load up. As soon as Ryan's clear, they're ready to go. And even if I'm only picking up 2 minutes per person, and if I'm dealing with 8 people, that's 16 minutes. 16 minutes over...
Times 9 rappels.
That's a lot of time that I can save just by doing this, and it didn't take me hardly any more time to rig. What I also like about this one is, like, in some cases, if the anchor is far away from the edge and I want to see what's going on, I can walk out a ways and tie my knot and I can get people closer to the edge, maybe giving them an
without
easier
having to
start.
clip in here
Yep.
with their personal anchor.
So I can extend this anchor out and maybe have everybody else have an easier start for rappel, or it gives me a spot where I can look over the edge, keep an eye on people as they're rappelling or whatnot. So to clean this, all I do is take the knot out, and now I have a choice. Either I'm going to rappel a double as the last person, or I could create this into a block system. So I'll pick the strand that I'm going to go down, that's the end of the rope, and then convert this into a static block that we've already seen in the other video. I rappel down, and then I retrieve my rope.
And this has to save enough time to be worth converting. Is that correct?
Yes, but you saw how long that took.
Yeah.
It's like, so it definitely, it took me less than 2 minutes, the 2 minutes that I was gaining per person.
Yeah, yeah.
So this is definitely high on the efficiency scale.
Now, this, you're not able to have any releasable abilities from the anchor manager's perspective.
Correct.
So if there was abrasion, it wasn't long enough, it was too long. I guess you can fix too long. But you can't do anything.
Nope. Once you're on rappel, if you need something, now I need to start using more equipment, more gear to convert this system into a
Because you can fix anything.
releasable. You can
It
fix
just is a
anything.
pain in the ass otherwise.
Yep.
But yeah, you're not going to be getting me out of a waterfall. You're not going to be giving me more rope.
Nope.
This is it.
That's it.
You would use this if you can see the bottom and you're not going to, what, a pool of water? If you're just
Right.
going like,
So literally I can see the ground. I can see
predictable.
both ends on the ground. There isn't a swimming release. There isn't any of that going on. I can just run this through, pull it to the center, pull it to what I need until the end of the rope touches, toss my bag down, isolate, and start shuttling people through.
The climber in me is wondering, if you don't tie knots in the end of your rope because you don't want to get stuck in the water, but if you're going to be rappelling to the ground and you know that, do you guys ever put knots in the end of your rope? Because that seems sketch. But you're like, didn't die in all those waterfalls. Not gonna die.
So
Culturally you don't, based on your answer.
correct. Am I going to say that's best practice? No. What's the higher risk? Rappelling in a waterfall, getting stuck on your rope, or being in white water, being stuck on your rope is a higher risk than going off the end of my rope. But if you're rappelling in any situation that doesn't have that
risk,
why would you not put a knot in your rope? Why would you not at least use a backup?
especially because you're trying to nail the length rather than, as a climber, we're tossing the whole rope to the ground.
Right.
And if it's a very short rappel and I just threw 60 meters of rope, 30 on each side,
Yeah.
I still tie a knot on the end of the rope because the stories.
Yes.
So, but then when I went canyoning with you, you're like, no, you'll die if you put a knot on the end of your rope.
Yep.
If you ended up being somewhere you don't want to be.
Around
It's how
that.
to think. You don't have a general rule.
No.
This is how to think.
Yep. And the other thing is, if I'm the anchor manager,
Yeah.
like I get here, I'm rigging this,
Yeah.
I'm going to stay here. So if I'm the one setting the rope, like throwing that rope down,
Yeah.
I'm going to want to go out and look before I send somebody. Or
Yeah,
the
yeah.
first person that comes up, and I did this with you, go up, check to make sure the end of the rope is on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to rely on sound of a bag, because that's actually a technique. It's like, I threw the bag over and I heard punk. Sounded good.
I don't
And come
feel
to
like-
find out, the bag hit a ledge and the rope isn't long enough.
Yeah.
You thought
Feel
it-
like
you
that's
thought-
obvious.
Yeah. So those things happen. and
But you
those
get in
are-
a hurry, and
Right.
you're just like, yeah.
Yep. So
Especially if you ran a canyon before.
always get confirmation, is the end of the rope, is the rope long enough, whatnot, or you're throwing knots in the air.
So that was, hold on, let me get this right. Twin rope system. Static.
Correct.
It's not releasable.
Correct.
Isolated. Each
Correct.
strand is isolated. There's 3 layers to this when you're in this twin rope system.
Yes.
So where do we go from here, boss?
So let's look at a twin isolated releasable.
Okay.
So I start with this the same way, running my rope throughout rappel ring, and now I need to put something in here that is going to allow enough friction so I can have one person on each strand, but yet if I release this, a strand will move. So
So 2 hands.
yeah, 2 hands. So one technique, and there's several different techniques out here. This is one called the Joker.
These are 2 8s.
These are 2 8s connected on with the quick draw. I'm going to run these through.
You went in opposite ways.
Yep, because with the 8s being stacked like this, you can see that this bend is tighter going that direction. If I go the other way, the bend is not as tight. And this is something that I'd like to test. This is traveling farther than this one, you see that?
Yeah, yeah.
Is to see, the theory is that one of these has more friction than the other one. This is pretty easy to inspect though if they're both
So
the same.
people should try to do this in a raging waterfall for the first time, right? They shouldn't. They definitely shouldn't be practicing this at home.
Right, absolutely.
Depending their life on it. You also should be going to somebody who knows what they're doing if it's the first time you go out. I would not be going down a canyon without a pro, and I've gone down a canyon before with him. I think we did it twice. You learn how much you don't know.
Yeah, and it's like the whole time you were in there, I never used this particular system.
But there's a lot of like details before you just go down a canyon because you have the beta.
Right. So this is what this system looks like when it's fully secured. I put these
So
quick
it
draw
can't
or something
pop
here.
off?
Exactly.
Okay.
So now this is ready to start having people rappel. But the catch with this system is it's conditional, meaning if I hand you this strand and you're on rappel,
Yeah.
and I put somebody on rappel on this strand,
Yeah.
neither one of these are releasable. The only reason I can release this is because I can move rope. Go ahead and pull on that. I can move rope through this system and it'll start moving. So if this one's weighted, I can't do that.
So it's mostly releasable, depending. It's
Conditional.
conditional.
It's an OR gate.
It's an OR gate instead of an AND gate.
Yes, you nailed it. So you can see all I've done is put a device in here that creates enough friction on one strand over the other. So the other thing you need to be careful of is that I need to treat the other strand as it's a belay strand for like somebody on a lead climb. You do not want to let this go. So me as the anchor manager, I'm going to hand you this. I'm going to hang on to this.
So it's more management.
Yes.
But it gives you the ability to lower from a rub point, help me.
Gives me all the benefits of a releasable system, but it requires a lot more attention from the anchor manager. I can't just rig this and leave. You don't walk away from this.
With your twin rope system though, you have an isolated strand. In this video, it's isolated. That means you could technically, if you needed more of a rescue, you could get down to me. It doesn't mean you can get me out of my problem as you could from a release, because you can usually let somebody out of the problem more than you just going down there and going, hey bud, you got this.
So the static one we just covered, yes, I have a rope ready to go, that if I needed to go down and assist somebody, I can go down there. But that puts me down the pitch.
And leaving a bunch of noobs up here.
Right.
Yeah.
So this is higher on the rescue scale because I can do a rescue from the anchor. So I can do what we call indirect rescue versus a direct.
But you can't send a partial newbie like me down there to go help somebody and then lower them because I'm...
You got it.
Yeah.
Now they're both stuck.
What's the solution to that? The next video or the next thing you're going to show us?
The solution to that would be getting into the compound systems.
Okay, so that's the next video. This is isolated.
Yes, so this is isolated releasable.
So this is basically a rappel lowering. This is like a belay device. This is a belay.
Exactly.
Your belaying. You're going down the belay strand and the other strand.
Yep.
Is there another device that does this?
Absolutely. There's a lot of cool tricks that'll do that. I like how you brought up the fact that this is just like a belay device. There's a really cool, simple belay device. That's called a stitch plate. And we use...
Yeah, those are
We use opposed auto-locking carabiners because we saw this video online where guys were able to get this out, and I just don't trust any carabiners after seeing that. I would not trust it.
Yeah, make sure you have two $30 carabiners up here, all times.
All times. So this is just standard belay plate. You seen these before?
Okay.
Right? So if I just run both of these through here, like.
Standard in what world? I've never seen one in a climbing world. It might be an OG one.
The guy that I was just ice climbing with, this is what he uses to top belay.
Okay.
I got up there and it was a
ATC
the
guide?
GG.
Oh.
So that's this is the Camp Ovo. The GG is Kong. Same device.
So right now, well, this is going through a ring up here. And this is what makes this a little bit unique compared to what your ice climbing scenario was. Because he's belaying you through this.
Right. He was
direct, like he's either redirecting and belaying you.
It was set up in a different way. Same device.
Same device.
Same amount of hardware. So that's the other thing to take key. It was like, this is a lot less hardware than what we just had up there. There was a lot of stuff going on.
There is. And this stays, it looks like it stays on here. This sling and this eye.
I could put a carabiner in here, but I just girth hitched this.
Yep.
This needs to be connected back to the anchor. So this is a lightweight version that when I was doing canyons down in the Southwest, I was setting up a lot of the anchors like this, because even if I don't toss my bag down and I'm just using a single strand, I can tie this off with a knot. Once that rope strand is set.
That's your Munter Mule overhand that we saw in the single rope video.
Yep, so that's not going to go anywhere, and it's like I can let you rappel. It's releasable, but if I decide...
That's a knot block, basically,
if
with
I
a
decide,
lot of friction.
Yeah, if I decide I want to start moving people through a little bit faster, toss the bag down, take this out, I just moved into a twin system.
Gotcha.
Very easily. So I use this
now,
at a lot of pitches there.
I'm not putting all my weight on it because I'm standing here, but do you have to hang on to this side for me to rappel this?
God, that's a good question. Is there a way that we could actually measure how much force it takes to make this move?
In a normal canyoning situation, we don't have a slack set machine in your house yet.
Oh, but we can make one.
How would you...
Let's go back to old school Ryan and do some backyard testing. So you want to know if I put a lot of force on here.
Oh, wow. I'm answering my own question. Oh, if there was only a way to find out.
Yeah, so that's, as you can see, out of frame.
As you can see, not Brent. Okay, so you have to, like the other one, hang on.
Yep.
Like a belay.
Yep.
And that would be actually really nice if you're really actively trying to keep abrasion off something.
Yes. Yeah, I'm just letting that rope, managing abrasion. But here's the key. How does this make it so I can move people through faster? Is, well, you're on rappel. If I give the strand to the next person and they load it in their device.
Yeah. Ready to go.
Ready to go. I just put that person is now belaying the other person.
Yeah.
And as soon as you go off rope, it's like, sweet, the anchor manager now hangs on to that.
Hangs on to that, because as soon as
and waits for the next person to get on, and this person's ready to go.
If you lean backwards and they're off, and you're in the, so you have to be, you have to have a brain.
Yes.
Okay. Now I have a question about this. Carabiner's on here. You get a little slack in here. Now it does this. You get a little bit more slack in here. It gets bumped around. Can it load the gate? Have you ever seen that happen?
No,
or is that gear fear that's not valid?
Put it this way, if the anchor manager isn't paying enough attention and allows that to happen, they should not be using this system, because there's a lot of other reasons.
They're texting and canyoning at the same time?
Yes. They are taking pictures. They're doing things that an anchor manager should not do. Just like somebody belaying top rope from the bottom. Watch the person climbing. Watch the person rappelling. You have a job here.
You have a job here. Okay.
And if you can't do this job, use a different rigging system. And you're just going to take longer to go down. Yep.
Tie a figure 8 and clip it to the thing if you're that incompetent.
Yep. And have somebody else come and toss your rope down for you.
Question. Just out of, I don't know, we're on twin systems. Could I tie an 8 on a bite, clip it, and then clip it, and have 2 8s independent? One 8, you can go down both strands. You can tie an 8 in the middle of your rope. I'm thinking about this through a climber's lens. If I had the middle of the rope, especially through here, right? I could just take this and go clip or clip it higher, and it's already ready through. So like you can go down, somebody else can go down, bop, 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 and then when I'm done, I take that 8 out, and then I'm going down.
Absolutely. So basically, you just used the rules I just told you and created
An isolated. They're isolated.
It is isolated.
Twin isolated.
What kind?
Not releasable.
Static. Yep. So you just created a twin static.
Very static
Now,
system.
the reason why I wouldn't do that particular one is that that's going to be
a pain to untie.
challenge on untie.
Okay.
Versus that big ass butterfly.
Yeah. Well, that butterfly offers a lot more options as far as putting your master point
Yeah.
where you want it. Because this can be either not as convenient as you have it here,
Yep.
or on a ledge it's really awkward.
Right. There's a lot of times the anchors are back away from the edge, and I got to walk out there a ways. So this does open up a lot of
Okay.
opportunities. And what I like about it, there's no extra hardware. This is clean, easy, fast.
there is.
This is the one made by Camp, which is called the Camp Ovo.
Okay.
Here's another version, which
That looks like it.
a lot of people in the
Totem.
Southwest
Yeah.
cannoning will recognize that. You can do the same thing with this. I can connect this directly to anchor. And throw in.
In order to buy this, I have to join the cult.
And get a tattoo.
Gotcha. Okay.
I can show you a really good place to get it.
So,
I'll show you.
what's this big hole up here for? Is that
So
a
check
clip-in
this out.
point?
This is what's pretty cool with this particular device, the Totem, is that it is a great one piece of kit that I can do a lot of rigging options. So this looks very familiar.
Yep.
Right? We just went over this.
The camp plate.
Operates the same thing, just as a camp plate. If for some reason I don't like that,
Oh, I see what you're doing here.
does this look familiar?
Oh. Do you still have to...
Should I still isolate
Yeah.
that? Yes. This
You
again,
hesitated. Why did you hesitate?
This is where how much extra security do you need to make you feel better? Do you want to? And again, this is a little bit personal preference. You'll hear a lot of banter over this of what is an open system versus a closed system. How comfortable are you with an open system? So that is fully rigged and closed. That is 100% the proper way to do it. I am not going to say that everybody has to do that, but you better have a brain in your head in order to understand that.
Because this rubbing on Dyneema is great, right?
Yeah, and what this is,
Because that's so safe.
is like now I've just took a releasable system and made it non-releasable. So
Okay.
it all comes down to if you're using these types of systems, pay attention, understand what they're used for and when to use them, and life is a lot simpler.
The idea behind these courses is that you understand what you're looking at when you go with somebody who knows what they're doing. I showed up super blind in the canyon and everything I saw was new, which is kind of fun for me. But if you actually want, I would have learned 10 times more being able to identify what he was using. I would have identified it, and then I would have understood the context of why that was being used.
This one got a lot of flack in a Facebook forum and supposedly was outlawed somewhere in Europe. And what was interesting, this is called the Joker Simple.
Because it's one.
It's just
The Joker has two.
Yep, it's just one figure eight.
Okay.
But it looks right.
Okay.
It's very hard to inspect. But this way I just rigged this, only one of these strands is releasable, the other one is not.
Okay.
So it's even more conditional.
Because it's got the whole, that pinch thing that you do to go up the canyon.
Yep. So I can secure this like this on the end. I can secure it with a quick draw back to the end.
Because if this is pinched, you can't get this back over.
There you go.
So if you did this, I could not undo that.
But some people looked at this and made the mistake and thought somebody was trying to rig a blocked system with an 8. This is not a blocked system. This is a form of a twin.
On the forum,
yes,
that's what got heated.
About 50% of the people posting on this, it was like, were saying it was incorrect because they were describing it as a block system. They did not even recognize what it was for. The reason why it was outlawed and discouraged to use is because it is hard to inspect and there's a lot that can go wrong. This is a very, very sensitive system. So it's hard to identify. It's not always releasable.
It doesn't seem like you have to do this anyways. If you add the other joker half in there, the other 8.
Right. So essentially, I just fixed it. Now both strands are releasable because they're not crossing over.
Let's take the backup off. Wow. All thumbs. There.
Get a big waller in here. They're really
Yeah,
quick on stuff.
I have dexterity only with big gloves.
Yeah.
All right, so if you were here, I could do this and put you on belay and lower you.
Yep.
Because you're going down. But if I could lock you off like that, I still have to hang on, is that correct?
So now, yeah, so that, you just put a cross in there. So
Gotcha.
that needs to be laid in very carefully. And now,
because if I loaded this side.
Yep, you go ahead and load that side. I need to be able to get this off.
Okay, so you added a cross.
I just put a loop bite back on there. And now I'm gonna go on rappel.
Okay.
I'm gonna put some weight on this.
You don't rappel with ascenders?
Nope.
Weird.
So I'm gonna put some weight on this. And
So you are
we're gonna lower me.
now, I'm watching these fingers of mine. Yeah, you are 100% pinching the crap out of this. You are in a static system, not releasable system.
And if you think about the conditions of why I would make a releasable system, if I'm in a water flow right now and you needed to release me, I have now made, thinking that I had a rescue system in place, that is not the case now. It's interesting that it was outlawed, and it was outlawed because of these reasons. It was also interesting how many people
feel like that's a good reason.
did not understand what they were actually looking at.
It's also, maybe to me, because I'm seeing all of the options right now, it seems like there's better options. Is the Totem...
What's nice is that, I mean, this is it. Like, so we've already seen a lot of rigging techniques I've done with an 8 and a carabiner.
Yeah.
From a blocked releasable system and then quickly being able to set up a twin isolated system if I want and need it.
With the 1. But you gotta pay attention.
You gotta pay attention.
So is this also, this does not have the same double hole in it?
No, there's one out there that does, and it's not, I think the newer model, they
So the Totem is for anchor managers to be able to do their job well.
Well, yes, the Totem is something, you can see all they did.
The Palicoa has a rigging plate concept to it.
Yes, so this is, I could set this up as in plaquette mode in like top belay.
Yeah.
So this could lock off. I could put a biter rope through there and put a carabiner and rappel. And it's just a way, like all the devices have this, it's also a way to take out material for less weight. Okay. So there's a lot of rigging potential there, and not a lot of people use it for that. It's great. I've started, it's a whole nother video series I think we'll do, where I've started making all these anchor systems
with this guy,
with a device like this hanging at the anchor, and you can go through every one of these.
With one.
With one. What Rich Carlson did when he came up with this, he's like, hey, there's a lot of rigging you can do with this, and if you look, you pretty much just weld the
I wonder how they came up with that design.
Yeah, yeah. So either I can carry 2 of these or 1 of these.
Okay. So I should get a tattoo.
You should.
Gotcha.
So Ryan, let's see how well this course went. Rig me up a...
You're going to test me. This is not good.
Rig me up a twin.
Twin, got it.
Isolated static.
Isolated static.
What you got going on?
This is the sloppiest way I could do this. I even didn't tie my 8 proper.
So, yep, we'll say that this is what you rigged. Now let's walk through what you've got going on.
So here's...
What are the problems that
definitely the problems. So the problem, I know, is going to be untying this. I can get something untied, whatever. It's also not going through my ring.
Yep.
And so I have to now I have to pull up one of these strands, I gotta feed it through, and reset everything up for me to go down, which that could either be a block system, that's the other video. Am I being tested on that? Shit.
So you pulled up 1/2 of the strand.
So now that's not a knot I would use for a knot block without clipping the back of the 8 with the eye of the 8. Now it's technically usable.
Yep.
And then I can pull this strand down and it comes out.
Yep, so not bad, not bad.
Not bad, okay, right. But I had to pull up the end of the rope,
yep.
which sucks. Give me the 2/8.
The 2/8.
Hold on. I know what this is called. The Joker. Big eye to eye. I was not expecting to have to do a test. This is not fair. Wait, that's not sitting the way I'd want.
Yeah.
So what did you do to make that better? You had it on a sling. This is actually really helpful. This is why you should practice at home.
I'm glad you recognize the orientation. Like, hey, I don't like that.
Yeah, that's gonna suck.
Yep.
Talk about not releasable. Yep. So I'm gonna go around. Hold on, there was a way to do this and not do this. That would give me more friction because I'm going around the eye of this. If I wanted less friction, I would come through this way, which is the same side.
Less of a bend radius on that one side.
So this one I'd have to come through this way in order to have the same thing. That's if I want that. Can I do this in a way that has more or less friction? Does it matter?
This is where you're really getting into the weeds and stuff. It's like, okay, I got a bigger guy in my group.
Do you have a big guy? Do you have a small person?
Yeah, maybe I want friction, but it's like, man, is there a... That's a lot to process and think about. And if those are the things that I need to think about in the moment, I might be using a different system.
So right now, this is not super static because I kind of have to hang on. I have to actively make this static, but it is releasable.
It is.
You did not ask me to do that. I just was really excited about this. You wanted me to make this isolated.
Oh, no, I said do the choice.
Okay, okay.
You build whatever system you want.
I do like the Alpine butterfly, so let's give it a try.
Wow.
No, it was like down, right? No.
Yep.
Right? Because then you can pick how much of this you wanted, right? When you went through. Is this a hope knot? I hope it'll hold.
That isn't even a hope knot. That is just pure.
It would hold. It would definitely hold if you clipped into this, of course. That is an overhand.
Definitely
that
hold
is
if
literally
you did something else.
That is literally an overhand knot I tied.
Yeah. If I'm right-handed, I'm going to grab this with the left hand. I'm going to bring a bite of rope up like this.
I thought I did that.
Yep, you did. This is where you're at. But then I'm going to flip this over the top. And it's that flip. This has to go on the inside where my forearm is, and that's the hole now that I'm going to pass that through.
Oh.
And this is where I can now change the length of this if I want to.
That's when you change the length.
So I change my grip, set it.
So left hand, make your loop.
Got it.
Okay. Flip it over.
Yep.
And this thing is going to go through this hole.
Yep.
Okay. And if I want to adjust it.
There you go.
Let's see here. I want to make it a little bit smaller because of what I learned last time.
There you go. And then, yep. So when I set it, I pull down on the rappel strands, pull on the
I want to dress it a little bit.
Yep.
So, okay, so you got your two eyes, test, and we can go down statically, cannot release these.
Correct.
And they're isolated. We can both go down at the same time as long as somebody's up here to fix this.
Yep.
Because we're not pulling a rope down.
Yep.
And this would be twin, isolated, static.
Correct.
Okay, so now what do you want?
You're getting it.
Do you want twin, isolated, releasable?
Yeah, let's try one of those.
I'm gonna go through here. Oh,
you got one.
it's on my harness. That is low. If I didn't want it there, first of all, I'm gonna get hazed for the fact they're not opposing, even though they're auto lockers.
That's true.
I wonder if two carabiners in the same.
Yeah, see, now you're starting to think. That's what I would be concerned. I'd be more concerned about that than clipping the chain, because that's all bound up.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
There's a video I saw one time about two carabiners in the same hanger.
Yeah, it wasn't very good though. It basically showed that there was no problem, but there's definitely a problem here.
Yeah, I don't want my carabiners to be leveraged.
I would say, hey, let's drop test this, but it's my wall.
But it's my wall. Okay, so this gets us up here higher.
Yeah.
So
that's actually a term we refer to. It's less gain.
I better hang on to this strand. If I hand this to you, I better hang on to this essentially. Because I have friction here and I have friction here. And I have enough. We're about the same weight. I can hang on to this. I could even put it through my rappel device if I were like just chilling and waiting.
And yes, that is perfectly acceptable. As long as that other end of the rope is secure, whether it's in somebody's hand or in somebody's device and they're maintaining control of it.
If
the 100% way is put it in their device and have them do a lock off. A hard lock.
Hard lock.
It's not going to go anywhere.
Now, if I'm trying to run 8 people through the canyon, I would just hang on to this and get that next person over here.
Yep.
And be like, you go down, and then I stand here. It's like you clip into this chain you love so much. Where would a person clip in? Can a person clip into this eye?
I was just going to point that out. This
Okay.
is another reason why I love this device is I could have unlinked bolts, clip this, do the same rigging on that, and this does give me a little spot for people to, now it doesn't matter, because sometimes that's an issue when I do have a lot of gain,
Okay.
is that now I'm still able to...
Oh, you can't clip this up here and
Right.
get on your rappel.
Exactly, not too
Okay.
close. So this device, I like having that little parking spot. It's also a great little rigging point if I need to do a rescue. If I need to just rig something off here, do a hauling system,
Yeah.
maybe just a little lift, boop,
Yeah.
I can rig right off that guy, and it's...
What's your, in a canyon, as a climber, I like testing my rappel before I take my personal anchors off. Especially if I have like a climb highest under or a VT above it or something like, do you like test what you're on before you unclip your personal?
Absolutely. In fact,
And you can't do that if it's down here.
there's, in community up here, we actually refer to as a technical process.
Okay.
And it's good to think about that in a training. It's like, what's your technical process? Do your technical process. I can ask those questions. And it's essentially as soon as you... As soon as you have approached the anchor, the first thing I'm going to do is connect my personal lanyard to something.
Okay.
Right? And hopefully the anchor manager has rigged something where that's obvious or I'll point it out. So as you're approaching, I'll say, go ahead and clip in right here. And boop, you do that.
So you get on the system.
Yep.
Get
so
on your rope. Get off the system.
Yep. Then I'm going to load my device, and then I'm going to do either a hard lock or a soft lock, some type of lock. If you're new to this, I would say go to a full hard lock.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people are right-handed, they want to reach up and disconnect, and I've just let go of my rappel strand.
Yeah.
So if I do hard lock, it's just one extra safety lever. Now I can weight that, but I'm still connected to the system.
Gotcha.
So,
And if this was up here, you would just be weighting this.
Yep. You can see that's not
And you
long
can't fully test this before getting on
enough. You got it.
if you, yeah, this is a huge problem I have in climbing.
So that's what you said. Then you need less gain in your system.
Or a really cool eye.
Or a really cool eye like that.
Yeah. So this is a twin isolator releasable. You can go down either strand.
Yep.
It's releasable, but it's conditional.
Correct.
And you you need somebody hanging on. This is a very active version.
I think you're finally getting it.
Does that mean the audience is?
Success.
I don't know. Success. Yeah. If you're slower at picking this up than me, just rewatch it. So basically, we're now going to transition into the compound system, and that's going to be a separate video. And all of these are going to be in the blog that is for this. This is like the bolting Bible, A to Z on the topic. We're going to release them in order. We're going to put them in the blog in order. And it's not going to have a clickbait title. It's literally going to be Canyon Rope Systems video, boom. So follow along. Go to our next video. If this is the first video you've seen, you're in the wrong place. But thanks for watching. And click the thing that looks like this for making it to the end of a video you had no idea you were into.